Yes,
Ankur, you're live, yes.
yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Digital Accounting Assurance Board, I am delighted to welcome you all to today's webinar on Discover New Avenues in Information System Audit and Forensic Accounting and Investigation. As the business world embraces rapid digitalization, CAs are increasingly expected to go beyond traditional audit and financial reporting. Areas such as information system audit, data governance, forensic accounting, and fraud investigation are becoming essential for organization to manage risk, ensure compliance, and safeguard trust. This webinar is designed to help our members explore emerging domains that define the DNA of the future ready chartered accountant. Through today's discussion, we will see how professionals can unlock global opportunities, strengthen governance, and position themselves at the forefront of digital transformation. It gives me a great pleasure to acknowledge the presence of our chairman, C. Dayanava Sharma sir, who has been instrumental in driving forward the agenda of capacity building in digital assurance, and our vice chairman, C. A. Arpit Kabra sir, a forward-looking leader guiding innovative initiatives in assurance and forensics for our members. I am Dr. Ankur Khairwal, Secretary to the Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, and it is my privilege to be your host for this important webinar. To begin the proceedings, I would now request our visionary leaders, Chairman Sir and Vice Chairman Sir, to deliver their opening remarks. We look forward to your words of guidance, sir, and to hearing about the important initiatives being undertaken by DAP to strengthen our profession. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ankur. Good evening, friends. Delighted to welcome all of you. Yet another webinar on the how do we discover new avenues. Uh, we are not inventing; we are discovering. That means these avenues were there. Somewhere they got lost in the burden of compliances, in the burden of deadlines. I think we forgot how to pursue these kind of initiatives, these kind of avenues. And probably we are making an attempt that we can all start working towards these consciously. In this entire scheme of things, let me first give you small updates on what has happened so far. Um, Last we spoke about the President ICI, Honorable Nandaji, has announced and shared that we'll be after introducing and launching uh, forensic accounting investigation standard, the first of its kind in the world, and having these been adopted globally by almost 18 countries now, plus some more in the pipeline. We are now on the path of introducing something called the information standard audit. I think in this entire paradigm, in this entire horizon, in this entire space, there's a huge opportunity for chartered accountants because it is largely being governed by engineers today. They are the ones who are talking about technology. They are the ones who are actually integrating all systems, and they are the ones who are giving reports on whether these systems are well managed, the SOPs are perfect or not. Now, all I want to say is people who know ICFOR, people who know SOP drafting, and people who understand technology. These three skills are the best people who do this kind of an engagement. Now, more importantly, if you are now armored with something of digital assurances as a function and FFD and DISA, we are the best fit because we understand finance. We can set up trades like no one else can. So I think we are the best fits in these kind of engagements. Only thing is we have to be vocal about it. Recently, in another capacity, I was at Lucknow, the capital of Uttar Pradesh, where Yogi Adityanath ji himself had invited the ICI to handle and empower use of integrating technology. Let me tell you, with more and more boost for MSMEs, technology has become inevitable. And with technology becoming inevitable now, uh, our role as chartered accountants, as finance and technocrats is becoming much more meaningful. Everywhere you would now need, as for MSME or for handholding of any other corporate or any other value-added ecosystem, you will now need to integrate technology. You will now need to integrate information system audits. You will now need these knowledge of beautiful course that already has been drafted. People have been qualified in that, but never put to use in an effective manner. Um, right now, I'm at the Jaipur airport. I'm just uh, the chairman Daniwas ji has uh, we've been invited to train officers of the Comptroller and Audit General on forensics. These people have now moved from what was only a statutory audit function to a forensic audit function. To all of you, let me tell you, whenever we get a mandate of a audit from CNAG, there are two parts to it. One is the statutory report that we do. There is one more part which is called compliance report, and I got to know this today. This compliance report, believe me, it's a very, very powerful and a very, very enriching report, which these people have to file on their own. They do that in house. The CAG audit team does it in house for PSUs. But believe me, with more and more participation, I think we'll be able to do some fabulous function there. And that is what today's training, the crux of today's training was this. And I'm really thankful to the chairman, Daniyaji, for, for thinking through, for conceptualizing, and making sure that we deliver something fantastic in a very short time, because there was another training program lined up, but they, on their request, we immediately swung into action just yesterday, and today I was here delivering this session. um, and probably therefore I'm at the airport and you can see some people around me. But more important part is this webinar today is a great highlight. We all need to understand we have a very good role in various other aspects. Only we need to do one thing is ask, tell them that we know all of this. Do you want to actually enrich from our knowledge? Do you want to apply these knowledge? Do you want to take some more inputs from us? And that can become a great function. Also, today there was a very very great meeting of PDC wherein autonomous bodies, chairman, they have proposed. The CNAG has proposed now audit of autonomous bodies and local rural bodies, um, which were the prerogative of CNAG. Now they are inviting chartered accountants to do this work. That's going to be a great collaboration. Again, DAB is at the forefront to work on all these projects. Friends, we just want you to follow us, and you keep a tab on what is happening. And believe me, these are very exciting times. Um it's a blessing that So there's a double dose today. There's a blessing that my flight is delayed, so I'm able to address. At the same time, flights of our speakers is delayed. They are still up in the air. They've not yet landed, and so therefore they are not able to speak today yet. But that's again a blessing, because I'll request the chairman now to take us through the information system standards that we are soon to work and launch. But friends, one thing that I want to tell you is, please be vocal about your skill sets, things that we know. The DAB, whatever that you've learned on DAB, whatever that you've learned under DISA, if you could quickly summarize some of those skill sets on a piece of paper, and every time you go and you're meeting a client, please make a presentation of, look, we can do some SOP audits, look, we can do some technology integration, look, we can find out some loopholes in your existing. For example, simple as something like travel expenses. Today we had a discussion of over 2.5 hours only on this topic with CNAG, traveling expenses, the biggest space in which leakages occur, and all other kind of payments get bundled in. Teaming and leading, circular entries, all of this, how people are getting enriched. So GST, a notice was sent to a person who actually used multiple credit cards for one transaction just to enjoy the credit period over a longer period, longer time duration. But under GST or income tax, each transaction got reported as a sale, and therefore, they got a notice. Now, defending that notice became a nightmare. And of course, that conflict is still going on, but it is a great case study for all of us to actually work on. And I'm sure wherever you are, whichever part of the country that you are today in, all of this must be happening. It's only about time that we stand up, arise, and say, the EOW needs us, the police wing needs us, the cyber security needs us, the enforcement agencies, the SFIOs need us, all of us. There's a huge demand of forensic professionals today. So I request all of you to kindly come together and see what all can we do under DAB. and take the most out of these two offerings that we have started. With these words, thank you very much. I will, pitch in when required until my flight announcement comes. But glad to have you all in this trying times. One another update: the formats for non-corporate entities, a reporting format which was earlier made mandatory for chartered accountants. Today, council has taken a decision that we are making it voluntary. So it's up to you. But let me tell you, friends, from the core of our heart, it's the best time to get super duper fees, consultancy, and advisory, because there is no one better than us who can help our clients to a non corporate entity or a LLP to present their financials in a structured financial format. And believe me, today there must be pain, but in the long run, this client will be thanking to you, will be thankful to you that we got wonderful borrowing, wonderful fundraising, wonderful credit appraisal, and whatnot, thanks to a formatted in a structured balance sheet. uh, Nevertheless, since there was a huge demand from the membership that this need not become mandatory, which I found that could have been ignored, because it is a good time for us to give an exclusive domain that only we can do this, and let's do this in timeline format, in a deadline format, because then it will lose its value and meaning. But nevertheless, we are all part of the same ecosystem. We're all here to help each other and grow, more importantly. So the decision has been taken, it's voluntary, but for all of you friends who are here in front of the screens for DAB, for this webinar, I believe each one of you has that technical know-how, and all of us are capable enough to roll this function out. And you can have two financial years, you can charge for the same works, you can charge doubly. A consultancy can be derived, because one, you'll be preparing them, so maybe you will not report because it's voluntary now, but just to avoid a qualification, maybe you want to prepare something and showcase that it's still under preparation. And the next year you will actually enforce that entire framework. So that could be a good advisory, that could be a good consultancy. Whether you're an auditor or not, you should try and do this. With these words, thank you very much. So to the chairman thereby for delivering the till the time the flight lands of the speaker, maybe, or thereby over to you.
Thank you very much, Arpit, and good evening, friends. Undoubtedly, as rightly stated by the Vice Chairman, that he is lucky that his flight got delayed, and we are unlucky that two speakers are lying in the air. So, all of us can imagine where we stand. And fortunately, I was in office, so I was able to come on the screen very quickly and take up this session. But I think we have close to around 550 participants in this webinar, which is first of all an apology, but that is not in our control. It's all with the flights and the kind of weather we are sitting in. But what let us do one thing. This webinar 100% is going to continue maybe in the next day, whenever it is going to be available. And in the meantime, let me just give you a kind of background what Digital Accounting and Assurance Board is doing. I think this will give you a lot of confidence and motivation to be there available for the next webinar when we do, because this is a kind of opportunity we don't get every time. So this happens to be an opportunity for me to come and share before you what we are actually doing in Digital Accounting and Insurance Board. Fortunately, people know me by name Daya Bhai, which is a digital man. So let me just take you through some experiences which we have gone through, so that you all really appreciate where we are actually heading to. Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, as you all know, primarily has two flagship programs. One is the DISA, which is called Diploma in Information Systems Audit, and the second one is FAFD, which is Forensic Accounting and Fraud Detection. So that is one. And third important point is, which is primarily dealing with a lot of workshops, which we do 2 days, 3 days, 5 days kind of thing, which is hands-on training particularly. So a lot of announcements are there today to keep you alive and active and give you that motivation that what is happening in the ecosystem of the regulators, even the bankers, the enforcement agencies, you'll appreciate, and also at the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Friends, just to start my discussion, let me just tell you that today when we talk about, there are so many people today who are attending this webinar. correct? There are close to around 35,000 plus chartered accountants who have qualified DISA. And there are close to around 16,000 plus chartered accountants who have qualified forensic and fraud detection certification course. This itself is a big number to talk about. Why I'm talking about a big number, please understand. The critical aspect when we are talking about from a transaction based to a system based audit, I'll not make it complex. I'll keep it very simple for your understanding so that you appreciate. And I want you to be there in the next session when we are going. This is only a icebreaker session kind of thing for all you people. I'm not going to take more than 15 minutes. My request is just stay, listen to the discussion, and then you can take a call how we want to, plan our future of profession and practice, whether in practice or in industry. These two areas are going to be very critical and very important. Friends, with that statistics which I talked about, 35,000 plus DISA qualified and 16,000 plus FAFD qualified, the most important thing is they have not been getting great opportunity to work. There was one big reason behind it. Let us talk hard to a fact. The talent of a chartered accountant cannot be questioned at any given point in time. We have handled the toughest situation in times to come, and this also would have handled. But what is happening is larger firms are actually taking the major pie out of it, and we all small firms are left with one, two partners who are there in the firm without investing on the infrastructure and people to do those kind of complex engagements. Though they are called complex engagement till the time they are not executed. Once you execute it, it is very easy to do. One single engagement is more than enough to get that confidence that it is doable for me. So that is one thing which I would like to share. Now, what is happening with this size of learning? And we are the only institute which primarily does a classroom learning where you are actually made to sit in a classroom for 10 to 12 days, and then you are told to attend the class and then you need to pass your examination, which is again one tough thing. But the fact which goes is the examinations are also getting passed by a chartered accountant. That means a complex technological paper is also being addressed and we are getting the qualification. But post qualification, the biggest challenge is one, we are not going on a continuous learning process. Number two, we are not executing engagement within an organization if you are working in an organization or as an auditor, even to an extent where IFC has told we have audit trials as an example where you would have experimented something very good and taken the discussion forward. But unfortunately, this has been a gap not because of anything else, because we were having a lot of other opportunities to work on. But in the current scenario, when you talk about statutory audits, when you talk about internal audits, when you talk about tax audits, or maybe you talk about any other engagements like GST, all these things have become automated to a greater extent. This let us agree to a fact. And automation means you need to carry a knowledge with regards to automation is DISA, technically very clear. And when you talk about automation, automation goes through a process completely. And when you want to do certain process verification done, forensic IQ is very, very important for a person. So the landscape of the profession is moving from a different direction altogether. So let's understand what ICI is doing for this. We have created this pool of 16,000 people. We have having a pool of 36,000 people, but the utility and the upskilling of these people is very important for the institute, because technically when you talk about income tax is asking for investigations, GST is reaching out for investigations. C&AG is expecting that a chartered accountant should have a system knowledge as well as forensic experience. That's the reason in C&AG empanel, those two categories are being given marks and weightage also. Please understand. Reserve Bank of India. See the kind of notifications which are coming out from Reserve Bank of India, very clearly categorizing and categorically telling that all the banks and financial institutions have to come into a complete technology framework. That means the volume and depth of knowledge which is going to be using technology is going to be mammoth, which we can't even imagine. Doing a transaction level audit today is not possible. Similar is the case with IRDA also. IRDA, huge amount of insurance claims are being processing through only and only systems. Nowhere it is now that you need to fill up a form and actually go and give the document to someone else. So that is also becoming critical. Furthermore, SEBI, through its BSE, NSE, and its own notification, they are coming out very clearly in the corporate frauds, particularly what has been happening over a period of time. Fraud and forensic is becoming very important because SEBI, all these regulators are impaneling chartered accountants. But the point is, are we able to demonstrate that we have the requisite knowledge or the tools and technology? So, for this, what we are trying to do is one side, we are now coming up with a hands-on workshop, which is very important for our people, where we create a sandbox approach with huge amount of data in this cloud, and you can actually pull the data, you can do that experimenting, learn that process, so that when you go for an engagement, you will be up to date in the total process. Otherwise, today also we are pulling out the bank statement. Again, we are trying to take it out. No, today there are huge amount of softwares which are available where a transaction can be, audit trail can be taken from one end to another end very effectively. Similarly, we are now thinking about, not thinking, rather we have decided in Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, all people who have completed DISA and Forensic, we are going to have a refresher course coming into play. These are all going to be 1 day, 2 day courses once this tax audit season is done, or maybe we are going to start immediately after this discussions are completed at our end. Friends, we are also reaching out to almost 5 locations in the country, like whether Center of Excellence Hyderabad, Center of Excellence Kolkata, Center of Excellence Jaipur. Then we are talking about WIRC and we are talking about CIRC and NIRC, where we are actually going to develop our own digital forensic labs, where you can actually come get trained, and we are also working towards an entire atmosphere where you can pay and use, because the technology and tools are so costly that an individual becomes very difficult. Now, what we thought is, for those people who are not able to buy those tools and technologies, why not ICI think about a platform that can be created for two important reasons. One, undoubtedly, the investments for smaller firms can go from the institute, where you can learn as well as earn. The process which we mean to earn is you can get your engagements in these locations, get the data processed, pull out your reports, delete the data, confidentiality is achieved completely. So you don't have to worry about investment. Second side, you are actually working on the training part. And third side is primarily that the confidentiality of data will never be lost. So this is one new thought which we are coming in, so that our chartered accountants can really get equipped. Sir, the answer is very simple. Last time I was fortunate, last year and this year also, that I was a chairman last year for AI, and this year I am the vice chairman of AI because I am chairman of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board. AI is the offshoot of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board. Please understand, more than 35,000 chartered accountants have gone through a learning of 3 days hands-on from east to west, north to south. In a total country, train people, not only country, we have trained people internationally. That means adoption of technology by chartered accountants is well received. If it is well received and we have got experimentation done, what stops us to get in for digital forensic labs in time to come? So that is one important point which you all should know again. Now, hands-on experience we talked about, hands-on workshop with the cloud atmosphere. Number two, with regards to the refresher courses, which you can go through the entire learning process because the syllabus is also been updated. And third is with regards to the digital forensic labs, which we are talking about. Fourth important thing is, wherever you people think that you want to take advancement in the digital forensics, right, or technology forensics, we have already tied up with National Forensic Science University, and we have tied up with RRU, Rashtriya Raksha University. So these two national bodies are training 89 different countries across the globe on digital forensics and system forensics. So we have already signed MOU with these bodies. If you guys are interested, kindly write it to us so that we get motivation to launch a course in RRU or NSFU. So that is one more important point which I would like to talk about. Now, is this sufficient, or there is a upskilling which is required? So with regards to DISA, we are actually coming out with a DISA 4.0, which is a new syllabus altogether, which is going to have all hands-on training experience. People who have done it in past, for them we are coming with a bridge course which is called as DISA Plus. That means whoever is interested can do the DISA Plus course, and new people, once we start announce the date from when DISA 4.0 is going to come. So DISA 4.4 exam only will be continued, and DISA Plus will be for all those members who are completed their courses and continue with us. Similarly, FAFD was a certification course. Now we have converted this into a diploma course, diploma in forensic and investigations. That means FAFD was not allowed to be used on your visiting card, whereas now DFI will be allowed. That means you will be experienced and expert in forensic and investigation. We are going to give the message to the society that we have experts in this particular area who are being trained and certified by the institute on that particular ground. See, just understand the ecosystem. If you just create a universe around and just think about the digital lab, which we are talking about, hands-on experience we are talking about, refresher course we are talking about, and much more, which is there around that we are doing. So in case of forensic, the DFI, and most importantly, friends, our forensic course, forensic standards have been the world's first forensic standards, and let us all be happy and applaud our institute for making this forensic standards to be made global. So we were India centric forensic standards, now it has been made global centric forensic standards. What does it mean is, now the countries which are interested to adopt our forensic standards can directly write to the institute and sign an MOU and implement their forensic in their respective countries, the forensic standards with the implementation guide. If you are certified forensic auditor, that means you can do the engagements on those all. I am talking little far off, might be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but just imagine what we are working towards. 22 years, 23 years back, DISA was been put into place, and today that has been made relevant. But today, the kind of advancement of technology which is there, we are moving very fast. Take it from me, these countries which are actually going to adopt forensic standards will need forensic auditors to do the engagements effectively, at least to train these people also. So this is one important opportunity which is going to be on your ground in a short time. Then one important thing which I would like to say is, uh, uh, you know, uh, fraud and forensic. We are doing a major conference in Mumbai in the month of November. So where we are going to talk about, all the regulators are going to participate. We'll request all the regulators to participate, the financial institution to participate, and most importantly, when we talk about the regulators, the financial institutions, the SEBI, or many other bodies are going to come and take participation in this. I request you all people to be part of this fraud and forensic conference, which is going to be done for the first time in a big way in Mumbai. So block your dates and be ready to visit, post Diwali session. Now, one important factor which I missed out in this discussion is, from the forensic side, the corporate frauds are on a rise. And not only corporate frauds, but the GST frauds, the income tax frauds, and multiple others, the SEBI reportings which are coming up, they are becoming very critical. There is lot amount of incentives which are being wrongly claimed, and lot of agencies are willing to appoint people into these engagements. So get ready with this forensic in a very, very, very rather, I'll say, curious manner. And one assurance what we can give you is, we will give you a training which is going to be hands-on with the workshop and refresher courses. Similar is the case with systems audit. Friends, please understand one thing. Systems audit, today it is being asked already by the MCA to report on the audit trials. Are we waiting for something more in time to come? I don't think we should be waiting for it. Wherever it is possible, systems are getting adopted, and there is huge amount of technology which is getting, whether you like it or not, you earlier business used to be there, and around that the technology used to develop. Now technology is there, around that the business is getting developed, and this is the real fact. And I don't know how and which way you are able to really pick it up, or any person would like to have any questions. Ankur, do we have any questions in the chat box?
Yes, sir. Let me check.
By the
Just
time if Anand is able to join us, then it will be great. Otherwise, we can conclude this discussion based on this. I hope you all have understood the context from which ICI is coming forward to upskill its members. And most importantly, we want each one of you to take this discussion to a different level. Yeah, Ankur?
yes. We have few questions like ICI is ICI planning to make the world know that CA can execute these projects.
See, our intention, please understand, friends, the faculties which we are picking up this time, always we have that kind of faculties, rather, I'll put it this way. But every hands-on experience or refresher course is going to be towards execution of engagement. We are going to talk about how do you, once you get an engagement, someone asked me a question, how do I get a potential client? That's not institute role. But I can tell you, from the time you actually get the engagement, how you have to draft an engagement letter to a complete level. How do you actually issue your report? Not only issue your report, but if you have to stand before the court of law, how do you do this? So we are going to do it fantastically, case study based reports, discussions, and trainings. So next one.
Once we complete DISA, apart from bank audits, what are the fields where we can get jobs or assignments?
What are the fields? Once you complete DISA, I think systems audit are across the board, and fortunately now we have Anand. Thank you very much, Anand, to reach home on time and take us through this interesting webinar.
Good
Thank you,
evening, sir.
Anand.
Super, super. Everything works on time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sorry for the trouble. Actually, there was we had a very bad traffic jam across Bangalore today.
I can appreciate. Yes, yes.
Sir, in fact, you are like evidence of what we've been reading and hearing across the newspapers. Just yesterday, we saw a paper article saying that people have started moving to Mysore, leaving Bangalore because of
Yes.
the troubles that is, and the rates, real estate prices have gone up by 50% there. So when we are DAV, forensics, we all talk about evidence. So you are a live evidence of the stories that we've been hearing actually.
So yeah, one quick thing, friends. There are a couple of questions which are there. Anand, before you start the
Yes, sir.
discussion, friends, if you all agree, then we
So
will.
if you allow me, I'll move ahead, sir. My
Thank
last
you.
call has come.
Thank you, Arpit bhai. Thank you so much. And by just for 2 minutes, I'll just take because I was just taking them through the entire activities of
Sir,
DAP,
please.
systematically what we have been doing and all.
Yes, sir.
Friends, let me just tell you. Um, I'm sorry. So what I was trying to tell you is, if you all feel it right, we can actually develop a WhatsApp community in which we all can actually join. So that what is happening, I'll tell you. There is a large firms which are there, they have their wherewithal. But there are mid-sized firms where they don't have the wherewithal, or maybe they don't have that kind of resources. But if we are able to get these two people together, forget about the large firms, the mid-sized firms can come together, the partners can come together. Most importantly, now we have completed a process where you can actually you can create a corporate form of practice, which I'll come and talk later. Let me have something in my hand to discuss something new in time to come, where different firm partners can come and create a corporate entity, and they can become part of that corporate entity without disturbing their existing partnerships. So that is one important thing which I would like to tell. But can we actually think about getting the WhatsApp group, or might be WhatsApp uh, I don't know what is it, Anand bhai, what the
Community or channel.
community, so that you all people can join. Example, if you want to know, example, 2 3 people are, I want 2 3 people for doing or executing certain engagement, or I want to have some person like Anand who can actually help us out in doing the delivery of engagement, who can guide us. So either as a team or as a mentor, if we are able to do, I think that will be the biggest game changer for the profession in time to come. Ankur, I would suggest is these two things you create, and if it is
Right.
already been created, put it in the box so that people can actually join that community as such. So
Sure.
with this, friends, we have tried our level best to get what best we could do for all our members, and see you people come together, upskill yourself, adopt technology, ensure that forensic becomes part of your entire audit ecosystem. Because from limited assurance, in time to come, we are going to go towards a complete assurance. And that cannot happen without a system knowledge or a forensic knowledge. So with this, let's welcome Anand Jangid, who is one of the most renowned faculties, rather a friend, also my teacher when I was doing my DSA and forensic, who has guided me also to be where I am. I am fortunate that I could become the chairman. 6 years I was the vice chairman of this particular committee. But this year, I assure you, by the end of this year, you will find so many new actions coming in, and all these people are giving their contribution to the fullest. Over to you, Anand bhai. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate Devai for this opportunity. And as you rightly said, I was actually expecting today's discussion with a very detailed point, and then I some challenges which was there when that's the reason I got stuck. But nevertheless, let's get into a kind of thing. I thought today, though I had a PowerPoint presentation, I will actually open it up later. I don't want to have a death by PowerPoint kind of situation. I thought we'll keep it very interactive, as Dayabai rightly said to me also, that let's not try to give the same thing which I'm sure all of you are hearing at multiple time, multiple thing. These are the things, guys. Let me start with where we are, what are the things, and how we can actually leverage it up. My focus today is more from what are the opportunity. you know how do we actually, I really like the series because DNA, when we use the word DNA, that's something which is really, brings up the thing. And personally, I always believe one thing, that if we are doing a learning, if you remove the word L from that, it should be earning. It should be actually coming into a point of that. Now, what I would like to do this whole discussion is in three steps approach. I have thought that would be a very good thing. First, I'll give you an introduction to this domain, so that you all understand why it is important. I'm sure a lot of you know that, so I'll go very fast on that. Second, I will like to tell you what are the new opportunities which are coming into this one. And this one, we should be keeping an open mind out here in terms of what are the things which is happening. If you do a kind of a Google search or a Chat GPT, what are the opportunities in what we call it as IS audit in India, you will get a lot of opportunities. Okay. But the point is that how does all of this connects to what are the bigger frame of thing which we need to understand, and why chartered accountant we do that. That's the second part. And the third part, I would like to keep it very interactive. I want you to give me questions, and I will be actually monitoring the chat. So feel free to give the questions which are there. Me and Dayabai will be like to you know
Is
take
Ankur?
as much as point as take that for. I would like to, as chartered accountant, I'll play the devil's advocate here. Are should be practicing in this. Yeah.
Anand, sir, your voice is breaking.
Audible? Am I audible, guys? Yeah.
Yeah, now it is
There
fine.
I am audible, right?
Yeah, now you are audible. There's a breakage.
Okay. Just check my thing. Okay. I'm actually at 11 Mbps speed connection. So yeah, it should be good. Sometime it happens, but just give me 1 second. I will update my connection also. So it becomes better. Just give me 1 second.
Ankur, in the meantime, just to tell you, maybe on our DAB page, create these two platforms.
Sure, sir.
I think it's much better now. I changed my internet connectivity, so it should be
Yes,
better
sir.
now.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. So I was just telling you, sir, that there are two things which are very important that we need to understand the ecosystem. Very shortly, I'll talk about. See, there is a concept we all learn called the financial integrity or financial assertions. Now, these are the things we all talk about. What has happened is, of late, we have noticed a very interesting thing which has come up. The interesting thing which has happened, friends, here is earlier the ecosystem was on a paper based system and other things, and slowly we moved to IT. Now, many times we have actually been more of practicing it on a control based environment. When I say control based, we say, okay, you check these controls, these are there, okay, and all the thing. We never try to see it from a risk based approach in our thing. Let me give you an example so that you can connect it better. Friends, what is happening is we were all doing manual books of account. Suddenly we moved on to Tally. When we moved on to Tally, we never actually understood that the fundamental of accounting is being done here. I'll tell you many times you would have seen, I'm just giving an example of Tally. It's nothing against that, but I'm just giving an example from an IS audit perspective. We all know in core banking system, SAP, Oracle, any of the systems, if I pass an entry, I can't pass an rectification. I can't pass an editing or edit the entry. I have to basically keep the entry the same way. And the maximum I can do is I can pass an rectification entry. That was the same fundamental principle which was there. But somehow what happened was we moved to a kind of a different thing on some system where these controls were missing. So the idea was that, oh, we need to look at these controls. That was the real starting point which happened. But as we started moving to a kind of an environment which is more and more, I would say, IT savvy or IT focus, what has happened is, and that's something which is very important for all of you to understand, our whole ecosystem has changed. And on top of that, I would like to bring it up that if you are a person who is actually keeping updated from the thing, from a regulatory and compliance driven perspective, right now we have so much of things which are changing from RBI to SEBI to IRDA to certain to Companies Act. All of the places, there are so much of requirement which has come, which we are not even actually acknowledging and taking it up there. So I will now move from what was the need for CAs into this one, which you all know. I don't want you to spend too much of time to the areas where we have the complete opportunity ecosystem. Friends, here I would like to take a pause and tell you, let's start to see it from a perspective of regulatory and compliance driven opportunity. If I try to see it from the regulatory and compliance driven opportunity, the first thing which comes to my mind is if you try to go today on RBI website and see the master circulars and all things, you'll find that there is a kind of a requirement of IT and cybersecurity audit for banks, NBFCs, and specifically fintech, because that is the area which is something which is unknown. And don't you think, as chartered accountant, audit is our domain. The only thing which is moving is information systems audit. The thing is that the domain is different. See, first time when we all did the bank branch audit, we never were expert in that area, but we understood the domain because our fundamentals, which is very strong, is on audit. Here also it is on audit. We have to understand the domain of information systems and take it up. So that is the first area where we see, opportunities which are there in RBI mandated IT and security, cyber security audit. The second one is the SEBI regulation. I'm not sure how many of you have seen, requirement which are there under SEBI regulation. Okay. Now, the first one is all of us know that it is there from a perspective of LODR, right? But there is also, cybersecurity requirement which has been brought out by, SEBI, which a lot of time it is something which we need to understand and appreciate, because the number of entities which are getting, required to be meeting all these things are also very high. Third, from a compliance and regulatory perspective, opportunity, if I see, there is IRDA IT audits, which is actually for all insurance companies and intermediaries. I'm sure you have seen the cases of related to, this insurance bazaar and that bazaar, the intermediaries and all thing. There is a kind of a requirement which is there, and that things are something which are very, very important for every organization to basically look into. Okay. Then comes after this. So we have covered SEBI, we have covered RBI, we have covered IRDA. On the compliance area, I'm not very sure how many of you have seen the recent guidelines which has been issued by CERT-in. I know the empanelment for CERT-in is something which most of our chartered accountants are not looking at, but even without that, they have the new compliance audit requirement which they have gone, where they talk about incident reporting, cybersecurity measures, and all things. And friends, that is a very good area to explore if you are actually looking for the opportunity in this domain. Okay. Now, moving forward, we have, I actually forgot to mention you. I'm not very sure how many of you have seen the SEBI's Cybersecurity and Cyber Resilience Framework, which is called CSCRF. It's something which is very important because that itself opens a lot of opportunity for all of us to basically look into and explore the new horizon which is there. And last but not least, if you have been following the section 134, 143, 177, 204 of Companies Act 2013, our present, there are requirement of having internal control system and IT governance. And I would say, friends, all of this opportunity which are there, you have to cover it in two domains. There is assurance areas where we say, basically you have to provide the assurance. There are also areas where we have to provide consulting. So it means for the same thing, there are two sides of the thing, where once where you prepare them for all these compliances, and second, where we provide assurance. Personally speaking, if you ask me, I am more interested in the, consulting part, because that is more interesting compared to what we see in this domain of assurance, because consulting is something which, every organization is actually looking for. Then try to see the same opportunity. This is one of the dimension which I wanted to talk about. The first dimension, which is regulatory and compliance driven opportunity. And friends, this is something, if you see the 5 domain itself, there is so much of work which is coming into picture. The second one, friends, which we want to talk about is industry specific opportunity. When we say industry specific, each of them are one, service offering in itself, which you can actually explore and take that forward. So the first thing which comes here to my mind is the BFSI sector. I would say BFSI is something who are very, very concerned about cybersecurity and information systems reviews, both from the assurance side and the consulting side. The first and foremost is the CBS audit, core banking systems audit. I'm sure many of you who are practicing in our audit reports, which we audit for, basically from a perspective of bank branch audit, we always says this is taken care at the central level, this is being done it up. So every organizations are doing a core banking systems audit, and they're very comprehensive because there are the fundamentals remain the same: ITGC controls, IT application controls, those things. But the depth in which they go, the way they look at that, it is very much there. And friends, I'm actually assuming all of you are DISA and forensic accounting experts, so I'm not actually telling it what is that IT general controls, IT application controls, and all things. But feel free if you have any questions on that, I can actually take it up later. Here in the BFSI, because I'm actually on the standing committee of analytics for RBI, I have noticed that in RBI, if you try to see the circulars and all say, there are so many requirements which has come from a perspective of all these fintech companies also. The payment gateways audit is required. UPI, NEFT, IMPS, what are the routers they are using, how they are doing it, ATM, things, all of that things are something which is becoming very important. Yes, there are some places it is a checklist audit. I will come to that part later in terms of the third point when I talk about. But these are the areas which are there. When it comes to manufacturing and supply chain, there is very famous areas of work which is giving assurance on SAP controls, Oracle EBS, and now it's called Oracle Fusion, Microsoft Dynamics, all these ERPs. There are a focus of control audit, whether our controls are designed properly and they are operating effectively. If in every audit we always try to, even in a financial audit we said internal controls commensurate with the size of the business and operating effectively. So same thing, it is more of a control audit where we try to see all the controls which are there. It can be input control, processing control, it would be controls on configurations and all the things. We try to do that. One area in manufacturing and supply chain which has suddenly become very, very hot, friends, which I just wanted to share it with all of you, is the area of what we call it as OT reviews, or what we call it as SCADA system used to be there. These are all industrial machines. Okay. Now, there are chances that you would have not worked on that. But what I wanted to tell you is the fundamentals remains the same. The same controls and other things which we try to see it is basically coming from there. And that area is actually coming up as something very, very interesting and very, very upcoming, which you can actually build up a interesting profile of services in that domain. Then it goes without that, retail, FMCGs, e-commerce, they have a lot of this audit of order management, fraud detections, payment integration, reconcile, all of the things, which is actually, you can say that it is a real IS audit, but many times it comes under the purview of that. Healthcare has data privacy. I have seen a lot of Indian, large chain of hospitals are actually taking HIPAA style compliance audit on data privacy on their IT systems. Why? Because they want to attract what we call it as, if you're aware of this, India is becoming a kind of a hotbed in terms of medical tourism. So there are a lot of people who are coming from other places and they are trying to see if we can actually, handle it up there. So those things in the healthcare sectors, we see a lot of this HIPAA style compliance audit, data privacy, hospital IT systems, all of the things which is there. Including also, there is something called as, I'm not very sure if you're aware of, in the set in the what we call it as our pharma sector, we have something called the audit of BMS, which is batch management system, which are EBMS, we call it up. Those are the areas where, making sure the integrity, the fundamentals, confidentiality, integrity, availability, and privacy is basically being met. And last but not least, I'm not sure how many of you are in the domain of public sector units and government, but NIC is actually mandating a lot of things on smart cities. There are IT infrastructure audits which are under the CAG and controller frameworks which are there. Those are the things which we need to actually look into. So that is the second dimension, which we call it up from the perspective of industry specific things. The third dimension is, so I have actually totally around 5 dimensions which are there. So we covered the first dimension, which is regulatory and compliance driven opportunities. The second was on industry specific, which I have covered all of the thing on BFSI, manufacturing, e-commerce, healthcare, and government. Then, friends, we have something on specialized audit domain. When I say specialized audit domain, this is like a very specialized kind of reviews which are being done under the purview of that. One of that is on ERP and application control audits. Now, application are not just what we have in ERP. It can be homegrown applications, because if you think of large PSUs, many times they have their homegrown ERP. And it is not just PSUs. We are seeing a lot of organizations having legacy system. which they are using and taking forward in terms of how we can use it and take that forward. But what has come out is the new areas of cloud security and SaaS audit. This is something very interesting. So when I say SaaS and cloud security, let me tell you, here we need to understand something very interesting. Cloud security. See, today every organization is putting either on a infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or software as a service. Now, there are two, three things which comes into picture. How many of you have heard about something called as CCM, Cloud Control Metrics? Just like we have risk control metrics, people have come out with something called as cloud control metrics. Now, when we are talking about the cloud control metrics, we will actually need to understand. This is, you can Google it out. You will find there is something called as CSA, Cloud Security Alliance. They have come out with what are the controls which should be tested on a cloud. So whenever a CSP, which is cloud service provider, wants to sell something, this become mandated. Or sometimes they are doing something called as SOC 2 reviews to just give a kind of assurance that all controls are there. But I want to tell you, guys, this is something which is very important that all of you, as practicing chartered accountant or someone in practice or industry, you understand. A lot of us, we are not taking our essays. We have something called SA 402. Internationally, it is called as ISAE 3402. That also give you the same, we call it SOC control, which is nothing but, when, service organization controls, when your work is being outsourced to somewhere else, you need to do it up. So that kind of environment, which is in cloud security, where the data is being moving and all things, actually can add a lot of value. And here you should go to CSA's website, download that, so that this is one very good opportunity which you can look into. And then a lot of time when SaaS products are being made, they would actually also look at the audit of that this control, this SaaS product is actually not taking my data, not doing it up. All there are the multiple controls which are there, which you can actually leverage on. Then it goes without saying, there is other areas like cybersecurity audit. Again, this is from a specialized audit domain I'm talking about. A lot of people think that VAPT, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, is something which is very, very tough. But what if I tell you that today, most of the people are doing only one thing? They are actually running some report from some of the tools and just submitting it up. What is lacking today is someone interpreting the data. And if you can actually build up, and it's not rocket science. I would say, it's a joke which we talk about in most of the time in cybersecurity, that cybersecurity is 300 times easier than GST. If we can understand GST, I think cybersecurity is not something we should be worried about. So VAPT is something which is very, very interesting. I would actually request you to explore that area. And I always think that as chartered accountant, we have a good understanding of business knowledge, and we can actually interpret the data or the report which is coming out of VAPT things much easier, much better out there. Then we have the latest, I would say, opportunity in front of us. And that is something which is very, very interesting. And that is called as data privacy audit. I'm sure you have all heard about Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. Yes, there are some dispute going on the rules and other things it will come. But don't you think that compliance will be a big, big requirement, because the penalty clause are really very high? And that is a specialized audit domain only on privacy. I'm telling you, each area you can build up a practice, friends. Yes, it will take time, it will have something, but it can be done. Then there are reviews under, the information security frameworks audit. So we have frameworks like ITIL, COBIT, NIST, ISO 27001. This is something which is there for a very, very long time. And I would say, if you put some effort, you can actually build up a kind of a service line on that. NIST is something which I personally am very interested on, because a lot of organizations are taking the NIST standards and they're implementing it up. And then they have this thought process of how we can actually leverage it and take that forward. Last but not least, one of the specialized audit domain is fraud analytics. And it is very much connected to what Durgesh wanted to discuss today, but I'll be covering it a little bit of part. We call it as forensic and fraud analytics because one of the domain in what we call it as information systems is data. It can be dealing with data governance and other things. That is one of the area where a lot of time people are talking about. But friends, I will tell you something which we need to understand very well here is there is a requirement that can you use, a kind of a old school, financial audit and the new school data and come out with something which can give me for red flag detection or using some kind of machine learning and other things in fraud analytics. This is a new kind of area which is coming where you need to have a business knowledge and IT knowledge together, and you can add a lot of value for the client which is there. The fourth dimension, which is very, very interesting, which I would like to bring it out to your knowledge, is the emerging technology audits. So I hope, Ankur, any questions which are there, you can just message me. I will take it. Feel free to put your questions, guys, because after I discuss all of the domain, I'll try to take questions and, give you more personalized, points which are there, because discovering new avenues, I'm actually talking out from a very, very 360-degree perspective. But you may have come across something which you would like to have the thoughts. So feel free to let us know. I will more than happy to take that points. Now, coming here on emerging technology audits. This emerging technologies, I would say there are 5 domain which I personally feel is really happening. The first and foremost is auditing algorithms. We call it AI ML, algorithm audits. This is a very new area. Some of you would have done the courses on how we can, look into AI and machine learning audit. This is called, in fact, in US they have set up a association called Algorithm Audit Association, AAA. The idea is they are trying to check all the machine learning algorithm for few important areas. Just like we had CIA, we call it as BEG: bias, explainability, and governance. Bias is the data made in such a way that is giving a biased opinion out there? Is the machine learning module is working in such way that we don't understand why it is giving this report? We have not tested back testing and other things which is there. And how the governance is happening is someone can tamper with, someone can do it in such a way that the algorithm will start throwing numbers which it is not supposed to do it. You're getting my point? So all the things are coming from a perspective of what we call it as, a perspective of what we call it as understanding the whole domain and then trying to put it up forward. Then we have blockchain and crypto audit. Now, this is something which is very interesting because it is the audit of smart contract. It is the audit of understanding that how does the network is operating, what is the exchange platform compliance. You have heard these things that a lot of crypto exchanges have some kind of hacking attack. Someone has hacked it. We know crypto cannot be tampered with, but at the exchange, a lot of crypto coins were actually hacked. So this is another very interesting area, which we call it as emerging technology audits, and this is something which we should actually look into. Then comes something which is right now my favorite. Have you noticed that you walk into a mall and you see that there is a kind of a boom barrier which opens up automatically and all things? See, we have a lot of IoT and smart devices being used in factories, cities, healthcare, and everything. Can someone compromise that? Can someone do something harm with that kind of thing? Now, organizations have started asking questions. Are our IoT devices, the sensors, and the smart devices are secure? This is more of a control audit in factories, which organizations are asking for. Smart cities, how we can actually look into that. Healthcare and everything. Then one of the another areas which has come out is personally my favorite is robotic process automation audit. So there is to be two part of that. There is a consulting which a lot of people do, where we consult and say, okay, you should implement a robotic process automation. So you employ a bot, but have you thought of all the risk and controls which are there? Let me give you an example. In one of the recent case, we were doing this. We found that in the bank, they were using some bot to basically fetch up some data from core banking system and put it in some other system. Very good, no problem. But then we figure it out something more interesting. In the bot, they have given the root user ID password of the core banking system. Now, if anyone have access to this bot, that person will have access to the root. How do we know it has not been misused by anything? Because when we talk about confidentiality, integrity, availability, we want to also have user access controls and everything which is there. Don't you think with this data, someone can actually misuse it up and do a lot of harm out there? That something which comes from the perspective of understanding of RPA audits, or we call validation of the bots and its control effectiveness. So it takes from the data, how it is working, can it actually go something wrong? All of that is something which we need to look into. Okay. Then we have the last emerging technology audit area is right now the digital payment and fintech. I know fintech is a very crude word here because I would say finance tech is a different thing, fintech is different thing, because fintech is all about the payment side. So you have seen the platforms which are working on BNPL, all the wallets, P2P lending platforms, audits are becoming mandatory. You can actually go and see on RBI, there are circulars in terms of every wallets which are there. Like I'll not name it, but one of the company which was having e-wallets where money is stored and all thing, we found a very interesting thing that the mobile wallet which was there, it was storing the user ID password of that mobile wallet in a clear text format, not an encrypted format, but a clear text format, which means anyone who has access to your phone would be able to do it. So organizations have started trying to go for it and take care of. And the last and the final domain, friends, is consulting and advisory opportunity. And I was telling you in the beginning of the thing that you need to look at all of these things from a little different perspective. I always believe consulting is the backbone on which all the other things are being built up. See, my favorite area, which is like a long-term areas which you should be focusing on, is on cyber reliance, cyber resilience reviews. It's more of a disaster recovery, testing of the BCP, since the resilience strategy, how they are coming it up. And this business resilience and cyber resilience, both part, is something which we can actually very well connect with. As a chartered accountant, friends, don't you think that we are very much concerned about something called as going concern? Going concern is something which we all talk about, right? But all of you know what happened after 9/11. After 9/11, there were a lot of listed companies which actually went to the ICC and said, we have lost either our key people, we have lost all the data, all the documentation, we can't be a going concern anymore. And as a one-off case, some of the companies' name was struck off from them. But that actually led to this concept of resilience. And who is better than us? And we have seen it up. Organizations, when we are giving them report on going concern, don't you think it is our duty to check for disaster recovery, whether they have done BCP testing or not? Many times, I'll just tell you, one of the control we see is backup and restoration. Everyone takes backup, but How many times have they tried to restore it up and check whether the system works fine? Only on the disaster are we going to do it. So that is one of the thing on cyber resilience or business resilience reviews, which is a consulting and advisory opportunity which is out there. Second, IT risk management framework implementation. I see a lot of organizations right now asking for, can we implement COBIT? Can we implement NIST? Can we have zero trust framework or zero trust, implemented in our organization? Depending on the organization, they are actually basically trying to go for it. The third one is very interesting areas on data governance consulting. Data governance. I think, guys, this is a very interesting thing because there is a very interesting reports which are coming that many a time you will not understand this, but it's a very interesting. There is a new term in the market called dark data. What it talks about of dark data is from the perspective of what we call it as, there are data in your organization we don't even know they exist. And because we don't know they exist, we just go with the flow. We said, okay, we don't know that. So can we have something like a data, what we call it as, something we call it from a perspective of a data governance review, where we try to see the complete, data, how we are generating data, how we are storing data, what we are doing with that. And ultimately, how do we basically use that data in our end-to-end work? And all of these things has to happen in a way where we understand it up in detail, that are we having a clear understanding where my data is, how I am leveraging it, and what are the key things which I need to look into. If I can do all of that thing, then I would say that we have meet up the whole requirement in a better manner. Okay. So my point is very clearly, data governance is going to be a big areas of work. So my suggestion is you try to see how we can leverage all this data, what are the things we can do with this, and how we should be actually, you can think of something like leverage in our day-to-day working. Okay, so that is, we call it as the concept of dark data, which we need to look into and appreciate out here. Now friends, here I would like to take a pause. If you have any questions, or I can go forward. Ankur sir, any questions? We can go forward. Okay. And the
Let
last,
me check.
yes sir.
Yes.
And the last point I would like to talk about is continuous control monitoring, CCM setup using audit analytics tools. This is something which is really big, guys. If you are not looking at that, then you are missing on a lot of things. I would say try to see this thing on continuous control monitoring. There is also a new term for that. They call it as ARM, autonomous risk management. So all of that things are something which are changing the way things are working on, and then we can take that forward. Now here I would like to take you through the point of what we should be actually doing it. Till now I was talking about the opportunities which are there. I gave you the 5 domains of the opportunity. Now if you want to leverage this opportunity, friends, first and most important principle is the KISS principle. See, you may think these are all very complicated. Let me tell you, it is very simple. If you understand the thing, when we do an audit, we have this planning, report, field work and reporting. Fundamentally, it also be the thing. Only thing which may change is the time you are allocating, the audit procedures you are doing, and all things. So we call it as the KISS principles, which we should do that. Second, remember, disruption is the key. Whatever we are doing it will change. It is not going to work in the same manner. You need to come to the table with new ideas in terms of what are the changes which can do. These areas are something which we need to build up our capabilities. And the third thing I would say, take an incremental approach. What do you mean by incremental approach? I don't know how many of you are a big fan of the book called Atomic Habit. A lot of people I meet, they talk to me and they said, yes, sir, tomorrow we'll start this. It's not going to work like that. It is a long marathon, guys. Start by one or two areas and then you try to take the incremental approach. Because if you try to do everything in one shot, it is not going to happen. And it would be something which will, you'll miss up on all of the things which is there. But the mindset should be, how can I use tech in my all of these things and take that forward? And the most important thing is, can we have a transformational mindset? See, I always ask this question, what is the value add you will bring it up? There are so many people doing it. I will do it in this manner. Like, for example, I met someone very recently. I was very impressed. That boy told me that I would do a data driven audit. I said, okay, this is interesting. There's something very different than other people are doing it. So the idea is, are we ready to talk from that transformational mindset? Not just the same old, okay, it was like that, and we just go with, can you give me a checklist and all thing? If we are thinking that, you are in a wrong area, because you need to have a transformational mindset. You need to be updated on what are the changes which are happening on this domain. If you're not keeping updated, it is not something which will come to our table ourselves and we have to do it. We need to create these opportunities for us. Organizations should know, they should trust us that yes, we can deliver. Friends, I'm sorry, but we should not think of any kind of empowerment and all thing. Those days are nowadays gone out there. It's all about reaching out and showing that capabilities to be able to. And then based on that, you can move your business to X. When I say your business of giving this consulting, this areas of that, all of that things can actually add a lot of value out there. So that's all from my side, friends. I thought I will actually like to add it up. I would take your questions and try to give you more impact, understanding on that one, which can help you in terms of understanding, knowing, and taking it forward. That would be there. But just to summarize what we started, what did we discuss right now? I'm just summarizing it for you. So friends, I started with discussing about the 5 domains which are there. What are the 5 domains which we can actually leverage here? The first one is the regulatory and compliance driven opportunity. Like I talked about RBI, SEBI, IRDA, certain Companies Act. What are the different kind of IS audit and the related opportunities which are there in this domain? Second, I talked about industry specific opportunities on BFSI, manufacturing and supply chain, e-commerce and retail, healthcare, government and PSUs, which we all know about and we talk about. Third, we talk about specialized audit domain like on ERP, cloud control reviews, cyber security audit, data privacy, information system, or security frameworks, and fraud analytics. That was the area which we work on, the third domain. The fourth domain is what we call the emerging tech. And the emerging tech which we were talking about was more from a perspective of AI and algorithm audits, blockchain and crypto, IoT and smart devices, RPA audits, digital payment and fintech. All of that things comes under that. And the last but not least, we talked about consulting and advisory opportunities which are there. See, here we talked about cyber resiliences, IT risk management, continuous control monitoring, and data governance. Now, all of these things are adding a lot of value in terms of our day-to-day working. The most important thing for all of us is to understand how we can actually leverage it up. I was listening to Daya Bhai when I was on the thing, and he mentioned it something we have to work on these areas, understand it up, as he was mentioning about coming together and all things. That would also add a lot of value, because there are a lot of opportunity. We are actually losing out on that. But the point is very simple. The challenge which is there is, we are so busy with our day-to-day work, we are not giving. You have to give it like a kind of a dedicated time. And something which I'm a big avid reader, so one of the book I personally love is Outlier. I don't know how many of you have read the book called Outlier. If you're not, I would highly recommend you to read it. A lot of people say, oh, this gentleman is doing great, this guy is good. Dayabai was nice enough to say to me, "Oh, Anand is a leader. I am not a leader, sir. I'm just learning most of the thing. I would say a learner in this domain." But there is a concept called outlier in that book. He says most of the people who go good in their area, it is not because of they are lucky or all the thing. It is all about 10,000 hour rule. If you are ready to give 10,000 hours to this domain, either forensic or IS, I'm telling you, nothing can stop you from becoming an expert of that. But you have to give time to that. This area requires a lot of time and others. Dr. Ankur is also a PhD. He has he has done his CEH and other things. He understand all these points which are there because it's not as easy as we see that to be. You have to understand. You have to upgrade yourself and take that up. So that's all, friends, from my side. Now I can take questions with permission of Daya sir. Daya sir, yes.
Yes, Anand bhai, I think I just have gone through certain questions and some interesting, responses which are being received on
Uh,
platform, which primarily talks about certain mentoring, certain WhatsApp group, and some people are interested to know more about how do I approach maybe one engagement which we need to do on a webinar and how to approach for an engagement. We can actually take the fundamental of those things, Anand bhai, because
sure, sir.
see, fortunately, we all have been giving only to the society rather than expecting anything from the society because we have got a lot from the institute. One person by name Sripad Vidya, who has been very kind enough to say that she's been actually exposed to multiple engagements across her work culture. So
Mhm.
these she is saying that I am interested to support anything which is required. So I
Amazing.
request Ankur to download all the contact details of all the people who have registered, send them an invite to join a WhatsApp group, create two different groups, one for forensic, one for systems audit, or maybe Anand, what do you suggest to join? Combined we do it or single we do it?
Sir, I would say two different would be good because some people would be interested on this one, some people will do that. We can create a group where we can actually push them and we can guide them also on that in the case they want to. It's a
Correct.
good point.
So
Sure,
one is that. So Ankur, I want you to, what is our DAP का page क्या है अपना?
dap.ici.org.
So, friends, dap.ici.org is the page of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board. Number two, we are going to put the link of WhatsApp in that page itself. Number three, we request you to kindly participate and encourage more and more people to come. There is no nonsense discussion, no good morning, no good evening, nothing. We might only post something very interesting which is relevant to your practice or industry. And finally, Anand bhai, I think you have gone through a long journey of travel and all, and the tiredness is there on your face. So
Yes.
we will tell apna Ankur to download the questions
Sure,
which
sir.
are there, and we will respond to you all people. Little tricky questions are there. Tricky in the sense, how do I get an engagement? Honestly, if you, I also get to know, I'll find out. But I think Anand is the right person to guide. But again, the point is you need to be visible in the market.
Yes.
You need to be demonstrating in the market, and most importantly, to do that, you alone cannot fight the war this time. And time has come. Even कलयुग में भी बोला गया है that सात चिरंजीवियों को लड़ना पड़ेगा. So seven chiranjeevis have to fight the Kalki, right?
Yes.
Fight with the Kalki
Ali.
for the Kalyug. So my friends, let's come together to make it a big opening. This is a new beginning for the profession. Take it from me. Take it from me today. I am telling you one fact that the technology is going to change every day, every moment. And if you are not up to date, I think your son, your daughter will come and just give you certain surprises. No one else is needed. And be rest assured, your articles, your staff, your people. And one thing which I would like to tell you again and again, I tell Anand bhai, you also will agree. Experience of our seniors will not go waste at any given point in time. So let respect
Yes.
seniors' experience and also respect the speed of your youth. राइट आनंद भाई इसमें प्राइमरली यही है कि हाउ डू
हाँ,
यू
sir.
गेट द एंगेजमेंट्स एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स सो आई एम जस्ट
Yeah, sir.
या
You are right, actually, when you said that visibility is there. And also, I have one submission, sir, I will tell you. Guys, let's not sit on our laurels and all things. This technology field changes very fast. You should be a learner all the time because I myself keep updated when cloud security Alliance came out with the thing, the CCM framework. You need to update. There are versions coming every time. You are seeing it how fast the industries are changing. So updating yourself and keeping it up, not that much as GST. I would say is easier than GST, but you need to have a good understanding of this domain. See, I always say this one to thereby everyone. If you're ready to work on this domain for at least 18 months yourself, you will see there is no lack of work. There is much work which you can think of. In fact, there is a lack of good resources, and half knowledge is dangerous here, and that is what I always tell people. Don't go in terms of what we call it as, just doing the basic checklist part. Understand the domain and then go deep into that. Data security is paramount. Can you say, sir, you should see something which are like SOC 2 and Cloud Security Alliance has star certification. So anything which is having star certification, that is something which can be secured cloud storage for your data. So go for it. There are many service providers who are doing it. See, I would say there is a very interesting question there. Why many times people from abroad ask question, how do you expect? Sir, I'll tell you one thing. Most of our friends don't understand. This is the biggest challenge. See, there is an input processing output. Fundamentally, the fundamentals of information security and information systems controls don't change. They are more or less same. There is only the arrangement of things which are different. Anything which you are dealing with is not going to be new. There are so many new regulation comes, they all use it up. When SEBI came out with their cybersecurity framework, that is also the same thing. It is not a new thing which is there. It is just meant for that. There will some changes, some interpretation which is to do that. I would say you should be confident enough to take care of all these things. You should not worry. See, I always give this example. I come from an era when we used to have, like, the moment trial balance tally, audit used to be over. So we used to have cake cutting ceremony when the trial balance used to tally. But there also the fundamentals was debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Similarly, we moved to tally. Fundamentals was same, debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Moved to SAP, Oracle, EBS, Oracle Fusion. Fundamentals is debit what comes in, credit what goes out. The fundamental don't change. The platform changes. That's something which we should keep in mind, which we are doing. That is a kind of areas which we should know. Fundamentally, you are doing the same thing. Yeah. Okay. And last question, you should take thereby respect as a ESA audit is given to only those with
No, friends, one
that
thing
you
I'll tell
should
you.
take.
See, obviously, will you actually go and sit before a doctor who is not having experience? The answer is big no. I think time has come where we need to come together. And example, let me tell you one very simple and straight example. Person like Anand, he has a lot of work, but he doesn't have people. If we are able to reach out to Anand and tell Anand, I want certain work to be done, I am ready to work with you on certain engagement, and this can actually give you me experience on this. See, today what is happening is everyone is running behind money only. My request to you all people is, when first you learn, then you will earn. That be rest assured. And this is a platform where we all have to put in our hands and legs together. It is nothing reading. It's basically doing with your fingers and hands. And that is something which is very, very critical. Only and only practical exposures will, make whole lot of difference. And my suggestion to you all people is, think larger than life. Might be till date we have not collaborated together for doing tax audits and GSTs, but it is time where we need to collaborate together to make a big team to fight the big firms also, which is primarily we need to come together. As we are, I told in the beginning that we are coming out with the learn and earn model with ICI on the digital forensics. Many such things are going to come up. Let's come together and work together. Anand bhai, I think you are a lot tired. I want you to take rest. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for making it possible to come and share your thoughts. I hope
Thank you.
the inputs which have been given by Anand will be appreciated by you people. This is just an icebreaker. I'm telling you, not even icebreaker. It is a chip of iceberg. We are just starting with something new. We are going to invite a lot of people who are going to come share their experiences. Anyone of you would like to be interested, reach out to DAB to come and share your experience on the webinar. We'll be more than happy. Thank you all. Thank you, Anand bhai, for making
Thank you,
it
sir.
possible. Ankur, thank you so much. And the tech support, look forward for your continued support, and all the faculty people. I think more than 700 people, Anand bhai, have
Oh,
been
great.
participating in today's webinar. So this shows the interest, and that gives a lot of confidence to us that we need to work more towards it and get you all people onboarded. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.